Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tony. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Happy New Year. Oh my god. It's 2023. Wild, right? Hope you're having a wonderful start to the year. I would say I'm having a wonderful start to the year too. A lot of amazing things lined up, which I'm very much excited to share with you when it comes out. So we're about to have a story time of sorts. I feel like I should have a intro for whenever I do a story time, like a little jingle, like story time, story time. Let's see what Tony got herself into. But for real, maybe I should. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try it out next time. But anyway, this story time is all about the time I briefly had a simp. So a simp is basically someone who's my sub. But I called him my simp. He referred to himself as my simp because that's what he was. But before I go into that dynamic and that relationship, let's take it back a few steps. When I first started having sex and having relationships with people, I'd always adopted more of a submissive kind of role. As I got older, it started becoming more switchy. But again, it was dependent on the situation. I wasn't always submissive all the time. It was honestly context dependent. And of course, my relationships weren't defined by these roles. I didn't get into a relationship because, I wanted someone who was dom. It just happened so that was the sort of roles that we adopted in the bedroom. And then sometimes outside of it as well. But I think when I was younger, it was definitely mostly just in the bedroom. I always thought that, dom sub roles were just restricted to the bedroom, but of course it's not. More recently though, I have been exploring my dom side, and that's thanks to the experience I had of having my very own simp. Because, prior to that, I never really saw myself as that much of a dom. Well, I would have moments in relationships where I would assert some dominance in various aspects, but it wasn't always 100%. I never really saw myself as that. But just so we're all on the same page, here's what I think, a dom and a sub is, and that a DS relationship, dom-sub relationship is. The dom is the person in charge, the enforcer, the protector, the mummy or daddy or whatever you want to call them. The sub is the pleaser, the baby, the servant, or in some cases, the brat. A switch is somewhere in between. There is this misconception that a sub is just the doormat and is the person that has no control whatsoever in that dynamic. And that is so far from the truth, because a DS relationship is all about communication, trust, and respect. Everyone needs to be on the same page. Everyone needs to feel comfortable about what is happening. The roles aren't set in stone, but they can be depending on the person you're in a relationship with. So in my case with my simp, that was a wholly, set in stone roles. I was the dom, he was the sub. But let's say you're in a monogamous relationship. The roles may reverse and switch and play around and go all over the place. I've always thought of myself as mostly submissive. In these moments, I surrender my mind and my body. That's something I hardly ever do in my regular life. In my regular life, I love certainty. I love to have as much control as I can over things that are happening in my life. It's very hard to do because, as you know, life just throws you curveballs and you can't always have the control that you desire. When you're always trying to chase certainty and having control, it's exhausting. I definitely found that with a partner, it was nice to be able to relinquish all of that and let someone else take the reins. Then I met my simp on Field. And, I'd seen him on there, because at the time I had Majestic, so I could see who liked me and everything. And I saw in his profile that he was a sub, he was looking for a dom. I was like, it's always something I've been fascinated with. I want to try and do it more. But I thought, I don't know, can I do it? Can I actually do it? But either way, I was like, fuck it, cautious to the wind. I matched him. I was like, hey. What was really great about that relationship was that we started off by getting to know each other and actually talking to each other and figuring out what he wanted from the relationship and then also what I could give to the relationship as well. I was very upfront and told him, listen, I've never had a DS relationship like this before. Like, I've never had a simp. I've never had a sub like this in this way before. So I felt like very much a newbie. And what was very reassuring was that this was not his first rodeo. It wasn't. He knew very clearly what he wanted and, what he was comfortable with. And he was very happy to share his previous experiences with other doms as well. So I was like, okay, I've got a better idea of what I can do and what this relationship could look like. And I was very excited to just, have fun with it and to explore my dom side. And just to give you guys an idea of what that relationship actually looked like, it wasn't, so in my head, a dom sub relationship, was just, actually I didn't even know what I thought was going to be my head, but I was open to I was open to the experience, and I was just happy to do whatever, and to kind of lean into the role as much as possible. So it wasn't just about sex. That's what I think really threw me, because I always thought that a DS relationship was about sex, but it isn't. It isn't just about that. He wanted to serve me, and I loved that. I didn't realize I liked that. Well, not like, I love. I didn't realize I loved being worshipped, and he wanted to worship me. He wanted to serve me. All he wanted to do, well, not all he wanted to do, but his main principal driver was that he wanted to serve me. And I was all for it. He wanted to clean my bathroom whilst he was naked, wanted to drive me around. And I remember one time I had an event, a party, I had a social I was going to. I told him, listen, I need someone to drive me. So he drove me, and then I was there for like 4 or 5 hours, and he was just waiting in the car down the road for me to finish, and then he was driving back home again. And when I first moved into my flat, my boiler wasn't actually working, so he would pick me up, bring me to his place, I would shower there, and then he would also do my laundry. It was little things like that. Like, I wasn't expecting out of a GS relationship, I think that just shows how very close-minded I was about what that sort of relationship dynamic looks like. I'm more than happy to admit that I was very wrong with my preconceptions, and I am so happy that I was able to experience this, to see that, it was, a DS dynamic is more than what you see in the movies and, on the TV. I was in charge of a lot of things when it came to him. So he was only allowed to masturbate when I told him he could. There was one time that I told him to wear, a chastity device all day, including when he was at work. And I got him to send me videos of him wearing the device on his knees, worshipping me. And it brought me a lot of pleasure. It brought me a lot of pleasure. I didn't think it would, but it did. It did. And I also want to say that, when we were talking about these sort of things, I made it very clear that I didn't actually like degradation. This is a very tricky word for me, but I don't like the degradation. I didn't like that aspect of things too much, where I couldn't do heavy, that sort of thing, intensely. It just wasn't in my nature. I definitely felt more drawn to the term mommy dom, where I would encourage and give compliments, like, oh, you do such a good job, I know you can take more, well done. That's the sort of thing I like. But then I also I liked seeing him on his knees and just worship me and telling me that, I was this goddess, I was this queen, he's not worthy, he wants to please me, he wants to serve me. I loved it all. There was another time I told him to give me money for a date, and he did, and when he gave me the money, he said thank you, as he should, because he knew that he wasn't worthy enough to date me. All he was worthy enough to do was to serve me and to make me happy, and one day, and to serve me in the hopes that he would be allowed to eventually masturbate. There was also one other time when I got him to come over just to hold my toy until I finished, and then when I finished, I told him to fuck off and leave, and then he did. How do I describe the feeling? The feeling is something else. It's the power. I love the power. I didn't think I'd like power. I do know I would like power that much, but it's a different kind of power, and I loved having that control over him, and knowing that all of this turned him on, and that turned me on, because like, worshipping me turns you on, that turns me on, that you worship me. It was a cycle, and I loved it. Outside of all of that, we also talked, and we got to know each other, and we were able to build up that trust, so that he knew that I wasn't going to make him do something that he wasn't comfortable with, And that, you know, that was very important to me, especially because it was my first time. I felt very secure in that relationship, and you know, it was really fun to be able to explore my dom side in that way, in a way that I didn't expect to. It helped me figure out what kind of dom I wanted to be. You know, I was able to think about what I enjoyed doing, you know, and what I kind of wanted to get out of the relationship as well. I knew I didn't like extreme humiliation. It was more working with him to sort of find things that I felt comfortable doing. You know, thanks to that dynamic and that relationship, I've realized that I've learned a lot about myself along the way. Like I didn't realize how much I loved being worshipped. I love it. Fucking love it. I didn't realize how much I got turned on by that. That was really nice to discover about myself. I also really enjoy foot worshipping as well. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it? Wasn't me. And then from that interaction as well, it gave me more courage to explore other ways to be dominant and to have that power. So I recently, I tried out piss play. I have made two human toilet drink my piss. And I loved it. At one party, I peed in a cup and then I watched the toilet drink it, and then he just drank it all up. And I was so giddy and so happy. I was like, yeah, this is hot. This is hot. And then I squatted over the face of another toilet, and again, very hot. I didn't think, and I just want to reiterate, I've tried piss play, like both ways. I don't like any pee on me. I don't like it at all. But I do love peeing on someone else. Yeah. The act of peeing on someone else and making someone else drink my piss, that turns me on so much. I just don't like it if they do it on me. Nah. I've also realised that I really enjoy flogging and spanking as well. And you know what? That wouldn't have been possible without that very first experience, you know, of me having a sub. So even though it was a very short-lived relationship, it has really opened my eyes into a different part of me that I didn't know existed. And you know what, she loves and she wants to come out and play some more. So I've changed my preferences on field and all the other, and vet life as well, being that I want more subs. People who are wanting to serve me and worship me, come to the front of the line, because I want to do more of this shit. And I wish pedestal was still happening. I don't think it's happening since the pandemic, where it's literally an event where all the men are subs and they're all meant to be serving the women in attendance. I really hope it comes back, because that would be a highlight for me, the pinnacle of my dom journey. You really never know what you're into unless you just give it a go. Because could you imagine if I had said no to this guy? I would have never experienced all of this. And that would have been shame. That would have been true shame. I probably would have eventually, but I'm glad that I didn't have to wait so long. So I definitely encourage you to try and switch things up. Or if you're a dead set dom or a dead set sub, try different ways of being sub or being submissive or being a dom, you know. Experiment a bit. Don't just do the same things again and again, because where's the fun in that? I mean, you might not enjoy it if you try it out, but then at least you tried it out and you know that you don't enjoy it. Yeah, I'd love to hear about your experiences exploring these dynamics, and whether it changes depending on who you're with, because I feel like for me it definitely would. Like for instance the way I dom a masculine person, I feel like will be very different to me doming a femme. I don't know why, but it just feels like it would be different for me. I don't know exactly how it figured out why it would be different or how it would be different, but I know it would be different. But as it stands, I've only really dommed mask presenting people, so we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Anyways, let me know your thoughts below. Are you a dead set dom, or do you switch things up every once in a while? I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's given you a lot to think about in terms of, you know, what you like and what sort of relationships that you want moving forward. Let me know in your comments your thoughts, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the notifications on, share it worldwide, make me Mr. Worldwide, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.